Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to New Jersey, where the rain has stopped and I am once again able to resume my cotton harvest. I am thinking, however, what I might like to do to try and speed things up a little bit and to assist me a little bit more is possibly look to settle horseplay harvesting. The Giant's AI worker won't harvest this field, despite my best efforts. So let's have a look, shall we? Got no course loaded. What I do want to do is change some settings though. We don't want to have courseplay repairing any equipment. I keep forgetting to change that setting. I realised it the other day when I was playing on another map that I was like, that's why I'm spending so much money. Hold tools. No, we don't want tools to close automatically because that seems for me cause some issues with harvesters where they don't seem to want to work properly. Six meters. We're not going to do any headlands. We're just going to go up and down. I'm going to work 0. Field margin is going to be -2. I'll have to move, obviously, my my bale trailer out of the way. But this guy can then start doing, like I say, the cotton harvest. I've already done one row. I'm not going to muck about. I'll let him drive up there. I know people say, it's a waste of fuel. He's already harvested that bit. I'm not going to argue too much about that. Yeah, we need to move that because the harvester's going to need room to turn around. No, technically that's not my field, but still. Right, the other thing we was going to do, last video, sold some stuff, made some money. We're going to buy Field 51, which currently has a load of canola sitting on it. So we're going to go harvest that. It's the correct month to sell the canola, so we're going to sell the canola, make a bit of money back, and then that field could be the perfect site then for building our butcher's factory. Now, like I say, whether or not I can afford it is another issue altogether. thought I wasn't going to use this anymore this year, this particular machine. But I guess it makes sense to buy that field. It's close to where we're operating. It's below one of our other fields anyway. It's going to be next to our olives field. Make sure I've got room. Make sure I've got some room, folks. Pop that open. Yeah, I think we could definitely do something with this area. Like I say, we've got road access there. Well, track access. So getting the butcher on here wouldn't be huge concern. It's not terribly close to our animals. So, again, I'm not going to, you know, the animals aren't going to be too traumatized by hearing their former friends getting slaughtered. So, yeah, we'll need to consider that very carefully. Obviously, I'll need to paint all this land over with and delete this field. I don't think I wish to claim any more of it for any of the farmlandy stuff, because obviously those fields over there with my wheat on, after I've harvested the wheat next season, we'll be ploughing all them together and joining them all together. I'll probably get rid of that tree in the middle there. All the hedging will go, and we'll have a nice we'll have another nice big hopefully yielding field that is easier to tackle in one go than prattling about before individual fields. You may have noticed a theme at the moment that I really am in the let's combine and condense fields down into one field. I'm doing it on nearly all the maps I'm playing on at the minute, whether that be multiplayer, single player, off, just recreational, off camera, single player stuff, you know, the whole, I don't want to be working 20 little fields. I would rather work 5 big ones. You know, 5 or 6 big ones. So canola is being harvested. And we're already quite full. We're going to have to go get the trailer in a second. I might bring the car with the little tippy trailer. I think that makes sense. A little bit more sense. The 8%. Yeah, we'll do the head loop. As I've started it. And I guess we'll just zoom up and down. Very quickly get this done. We'll leave the cotton harvester running over yonder. We've got another screenshot for the thumbnail for this video. I didn't really take a better one for the cotton harvester, did I, for the last episode? I may go and grab one. A little bit of behind the scenes fourth wall breaking magic there. If I go and grab the screenshot for that in a second, when you watch the last episode in the series, you won't know at the time that I've actually grabbed that screenshot in this video. Because I wanted a better shot of him actually driving into the light when he was coming down the field. So we'll go and do that. Nearly crop destruction. Brakes on this harvester are quite woeful. Let's find the truck. There he is. We'll empty Mr. Harvester. Right, let's go get Combine, the screenshot thumbnail for the cotton harvester. There he is. So we'll get a screenshot of that. There we go. That will be for the last episode. There we go. Alright. Ready. I think we're good. We can carry on now. So yeah, we'll get this canola harvested and we'll get this canola sold. Then I will, like I say, we'll get rid of this field altogether. lovely day now the rain has stopped. Lovely November. You know what, the days do fly by when you're playing accelerated timescales. Especially when you start at 8 AM in the morning because it's too dark on the map to do any work before then. And it gets dark very early in the evening now, as you would expect. Located in the northern hemisphere of the world. I'm trying to think when I look at a map where New Jersey is in relation to obviously the UK. I know we're reasonably on the same sort of, you know, longitude or latitude, whichever way it is, latitude, longitude. So I think we're probably on about the same level. So we probably have a very similar sort of climate, very similar sort of summer hours, winter hours, if you know what I mean. I don't know if New Jersey might even actually be a little bit more northern. Because I know New York, I know New York is close to New Jersey. And New York gets snow in the winter, whereas we don't always, over here in the UK, we don't always get snow. So I don't know whether, like New York, New Jersey, the east coast of America is a little bit more northern than we are. Might be, I don't know. Like I say, it's been a long time since I did geography. It's been a long time since I did my GCSE in geography. It's got to be, what, 24 years? 24 years since I did my GCSEs at school. And I only got C for geography. Out of my GCSE options, that was one of the subjects I took, along with history. I did history, geography. I did resistant materials as my sort of technology subject, which for the American audience out there, that would be like workshop or work class or whatever. You had to pick a technology subject. Some people did electronics, some people did like cooking, catering. I can't remember what else there was. There was another subject. It might have been graphics. And like I say, I did resistant materials, which was basically the fancy name for woodworking and metalworking. That was my technology subject. I'm sure there was a fourth option. You had to pick 4 subjects to do, besides the compulsory mandatory subjects of like English, maths, chemistry, physics, biology, and French, or well, a modern language. You had a choice of French or German. I did French because I'd done French for 4 of my 5 years and couldn't speak a word of it, read a word of it, or write a word of it. So there was no point me switching to German. I did German for 1 year. For some reason, in our second year of secondary school, we did German for a year, and then we went back to doing French. And I don't think that helped me at all. I think that just confused my brain far too much. And then I just never really cared for it as a subject. So yeah, French was the only GCSE I didn't even get a pass grade in. Obviously, all the compulsory subjects, English Lit, English Language, Maths, and all the sciences, I absolutely blitzed. Nailed those, aced them. Then I did, and then obviously my technology and history as well were the other subjects I absolutely aced in my GCSEs. And then the rest, like I say, the geography and what have you, they were just like pass grades. I think they ended up like 3 C's in some subjects. I think it was 3 C's. And then, yeah, I was quite happy. I was quite happy with my leaving school with the grades that I got in the subjects that I did. And then obviously that led me then into doing my engineering apprenticeship and then obviously I went off and did an MVQ, GMVQ, national certificate, higher national certificate, and then a diploma, higher national diploma, and then I did my and then I also did an extra course in the like the IT computer maintenance and installation, with some basic networking stuff. And then I've kind of built on that after that myself through playing and tinkering around with all this equipment. And then that led to me later on, obviously in life, getting my IT roles and stuff that I did before ending up here doing this. So yeah, all good stuff. And I was actually prompted into thinking the other day, actually, talking to somebody, having a chat with somebody. If I was to go and do a course, if someone said to me now, okay, you have to go and do a course, you have to go and study, you have to go take a course at college or whatever, and you have to go do some studying, what would you study? What course would you study? And I would say, having had a conversation with somebody the other day, probably now, thinking about it, I probably would do something like psychology. I'd love to have a crack at that, because I've certainly spent enough time having people meddling with my mind and probing my mind and dealing with all my mental health stuff and everything over the years, that maybe my experiences would translate really well. Taking what I've learned from going through all these various different courses over the years and dealing with all these professionals and everything, and the way you look at things, the way you think about things now as opposed to before. And especially as I was always a good sort of coaching type person back, like I say, back in the days when I was doing the golfing, I was coaching like juniors and like the ladies and stuff. I was always very good teaching, and then again when I got into like the IT field later in life, I was again very good at teaching and helping people overcoming problems and issues. I always had a very good way of explaining things to people that they could understand. Again, there's a lot of corporate these days, certainly nowadays more than ever, for psychologists, as mental health and everything becomes more and more prevalent with everybody in every walk of life. There's so many companies now that are actually like employ and hire people, psychologists, to be available you know, and provide them to their workforce. There's always a call for it. And I think somebody with experience who's had, you know, treatment, if you like, for lack of a better term, had treatment for stuff, is a lot, maybe a bit more clued up and has a bit more advantage over the people who have just left school, gone to college, done the course, passed the exam at the end, they start practicing, but they have no experience of dealing with what they do. And I think for me, with what I've been through, obviously in my life, with my accident 7 years ago, I think I would be very good at helping people who have suffered like trauma, physical trauma, mental trauma, because of obviously my own experiences and understanding what it's like dealing, especially with PTSD. I think I would be really good at talking to other people and helping people who've been through what I've been through. Because when I was going through what I was going through, there was nobody who understood me, and understands what I experience, what I feel in certain situations. Still to this day, you know, I have obviously my problems doing certain things that most people don't even think about, just completely take for granted. And I think I would have a lot to offer back, but it's one of them things. I also have to look at the fact that obviously I'm old now. I'm a lot older than I used to be, and I haven't been in an environment where I've been learning and studying and stuff for a long time. Would I want to go and do that again? Would I want to go and do we are nearly full. 90%. Unload in a second. How's Mr. Cotton Harvester doing? He seems to be doing okay. I'm empty here. I mean, it's not going to make much of a difference because obviously I'm going to paint over this field. But if this was a normal field that I was harvesting, we want the chopped straw going. We don't want any gaps because obviously the stuff coming out the back of the harvester is acting as a fertilizer on this map. So you really don't want too many disconnects. And like I've said before, perhaps that header is actually a little bit on the big side for the harvester, because the debris doesn't get spread over the same width as the harvester, which means you do tend to get little gaps unless you're overlapping, which is all right for me because I tend to overlap obviously when I'm manually working fields with the tools. I always manually kind of overlap if I'm not using GPS, which I'm not in this occasion. But the AI doesn't overlap, he works exactly to the edge of the tool. So the AI would leave a much bigger, more defined gap in the field, like you can see on field 14 and 13 here. So that's where the oilseed radish is going to come in very useful for me in that situation. Because that's going to neaten up some of the field and leave just a little bit. And then when we come to seed the field next year, if I put fertiliser in the seeder or planter, it will finish the field off for me, which means I won't have to spray. I won't have to spray at all. Now, looking at the crop calendar, again, we can plant cotton in February. So what I'm going to have to do in January, I'm going to have to start ploughing the fields that I'm going to be putting the cotton on. And obviously then doing the stone collecting afterwards. And then February, get the cotton planted. And then that'll be ready to harvest from October. And then as soon as we hit March, we need to get the olives in. And then the sorghum goes in April. That's fine. That is perfectly okay. I can deal with that. That's our plan. So get this done, quickly empty, take the trailer straight and sell it. We can then see how much money we've got. And then next episode, we'll have a look at what the butcher's shop's going to cost me. And maybe look at getting that implemented. Hopefully finish off the cotton harvest. And then have a look at how many bales we've got and decide whether or not we need to hang on to them for another 12 months. Or whether we can take them and sell them. And then pop that other achievement that I need. Obviously I'm going to hurt my production, because without the cotton going into the spinnery and the fabric shop, I'm not going to get any clothes or cuddly toys next year. So I do have to be a little bit mindful of that. That's going to hurt our profits a little bit next year. But after I've placed the butcher's shop, I shouldn't really need to spend any more money. Apart from, as I say, the planting the olives next year and repairing my grapes. I also got to remember we need to prune those grape trees, those grapevines. I need to get the gizmo that does that. What I'm just going to do is I'm just going to have a drive over this way, because I think the harvester has probably finished harvesting the cotton now. So I can probably stop him. certainly has. Tell you what, we'll drop that bale off the back, and that stopped him. Right. We'll get that field harvested. It's also getting late in the day, so what I might do is I might actually sleep. Start a brand new morning off before I start harvesting the rest of that field. I imagine that'll be okay, won't it? But there we go, ladies and gents. There is the canola sold. So we've made a little bit of money back on the field. From purchasing the field, we made 56 grand back. So it's cost us just over 300,000 to buy that land. And like I say, next video we'll have a look at what the butcher shop's going to run us in at. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today's video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I will see you very soon in the not too distant future. But for now, from me, C Waddy, it's goodbye and take care. Cheerio.